Good evening. How are you? Just came out to talk to y'all for a little while. Just finished watching the great debate. I thought it was a pretty good debate myself. Came out to see if anybody was up and anybody chose to chat about it tonight. It's the road to the White House. Probably one of the most uh, greatest races to the White House that I've been able to witness in my lifetime. Hey, Sting. So, from the very beginning, I saw a very poised Black woman who held her own on stage with a former president. She initiated the handshake, which, in my opinion, I felt should have been done by him. He is a former president. She is someone who's seeking the office of the president. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Miss Wanda. Hey, everybody. He spoke on a lot of things tonight, but when it came down to his plans and his policies, I didn't hear anything about that. She spoke briefly on what her policies were, and it's a vast difference between his policies from the past because we can't go on what his policies are now. He said he was still working on them. I would think by now, if you got less than 2 months left, about 50 something days left before election, we should know about what these plans are. Right now, we're talking about an 80-year-old man running for office as president of the United States. Hello to everybody coming in. In the first 4 minutes, I watched her really get under his skin. He cannot stand for anybody to say anything that is personal. I'm not interested in how many people are at your rally. That's unimportant to me. I'm not interested in whether you know all of these dictators and what they stand for. I'm more interested in the prices of things here in the United States. Housing is out of control. She spoke on that, what she would do to help with housing. He was very redundant, in my opinion. He kept regurgitating the same thing over and over again. And he was very radical when it came down to taking control and over talking and over speaking himself. He never answered one question. If he was asked a question, he bypassed the question and he tried to stay on the topic of immigration and that border wall that he put up and didn't finish. That's not important to me as much as the cost of living is and how we're going to get the cost of living down. I think the moderators did a pretty good job because we're dealing with the Donald and he's used to controlling. And he even went as far as to say they didn't do a good job because they didn't let him overtalk himself. Whoever his speechwriters are, whoever prepped him for the debate, I don't think they did a really good job at all. She showed me to be very presidential. There's so much she spoke of that she did as vice president that I never knew because you never heard very much from her. But now I see why. Let me go back up so I can get y'all's comments as I'm going along. This is Sting. Trump was a clown. He did not answer one question. He danced around it like he normally does. Okay. You got to think about, too, when he was in office, Obama had just left office and left everything intact. So he just walked in not having much to do. Where I saw his failure when it came down to the pandemic. Now, if I know that there is a likelihood of a pandemic spreading, first of all, you got to remember what he said. He said that it wasn't real, it wasn't true, but yet hundreds of thousands of people were dying every day. He even caught it himself while he was in office. She got to him really, really bad, too, when she brought up his conviction and his record. She was able to debate him with a lot of class. And you could definitely tell that he knew very little about economics and policies. She really, really, really got under his skin because he wasn't focused. He went out there strictly with that border wall, and that was the topic of his conversation for most of the night. And degrading them. I heard a lot of me, my, and I's in there. But this is not about him. This is about us. What are you going to do for the American people is what we need to know. Just to vote for him, just to vote for him. And I've had a lot of people come over here, Trump 2025. But tonight, I'm wondering, where are you? Because I got some questions for you. Why didn't he tell us what his policies were? Why didn't he have that ready for us tonight? You got to remember, this is 4 years later. The world is not where it was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we were in a pandemic. Nobody was going to school. That's when everything started to go up and it continued to inflate. You got to go back to where it all started to understand where we are. Tony is in the building and she says he didn't have any. She's speaking of policies. If he had them, he sure didn't mention them. And he did reiterate that they were getting them together. But I don't need you get them together for later. And then in the end, he went to the spin room. What was the purpose? What was the point? To control the audience, to talk about what he wanted to talk about. Wanda is agreeing that he's a clown. People, all I got to say about this is, if you have not registered to vote, you need to get out and vote right now. Is this, you've had 4 years of it. And she brought out a lot of things that he did while he was in office that no other president of the United States has ever done. One was a debacle that went on at the Capitol. And he lied about it because he was standing in that room and he told those people he would meet them down there. But instead, he didn't. And they went down there like barbarics and they injured people, killed people, hurt people. This is the capital of the United States. His vice president was in there. Kamala even said she was in there. Can you imagine the fear of not knowing if you're going to walk out of the capital of the United States dead or alive? She also mentioned that his convictions are coming up in November. I am trying to wonder, how can a man who has done all of this even run for the president of the United States of America? Just turn that thing around and put those same faults and failures on her. Would she be able to run? Now, I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people. First of all, because she's a double minority. She's a black woman to go to the White House. But if they could put a black man in there and he did as well as he did, then maybe it's time for a change. Because she definitely spoke in reference of the people, especially the middle class, which is the majority of America. So I can't see where he really did a great debate there because everything she spoke on what she was trying to do, he never came back and debated her on it. The question for a whole lot of people is what happened at those rallies? And she even brought up the fact that the rallies were boring, they're not entertaining, they're more bashing than anything. Same thing he did tonight. I'm not interested in that. Okay, you can bash people, you can destroy their integrity and their character. That is not helping the economy. That is not doing anything. And when it got down to Roe versus Wade, that was disastrous on his part. The government has no business in your business when it comes down to your body. That's between you, your husband, and God. Why was it so important to take that away? Control. You want to control everything. That's impossible. It's more like a dictatorship. The people that he mingles with or congregates with in other countries. I don't want to live like that. This is supposed to be the land of the free. So, to those who do support him, I wish you would come into the chat tonight and tell me why. How is he going to benefit you? She talked about small businesses. Did he? She talked about Roe versus Wade. Did he? She talked about affordable housing. Did he? What did he talk about tonight that is going to benefit you? Is the question. But she knew he would be worried about his rally size. She knew how to get to him, Keisha. Exactly. She rattled him all night long. She would dig a little personal thing in there. And that is what the Republican Party did not want. Mm-mm. And quickly asked for another debate. He's not a very good debater at all. And I personally feel that the moderators did an excellent job. He overtalked her 3-1 tonight. And anytime he was asked a question, he went back to clarify something that may have been 2 questions above. And we still didn't get a clear-cut answer. Hey, Pastor Thomas, how you doing? Libra 4, yes, he's a big clown. With that orange hair fits right in, says Miss Audrey. I didn't see Miss Libra 4 in here. I apologize for not speaking to you. Good evening. No, ma'am. Who won over the mountains and through the woods, says Sting. He thinks women are beneath him. That's true. Another thing I want you to think about too, who is he married to? A foreigner. But he's so against other foreign people coming in here. But wasn't America built as a United States of America with people always as immigrants? coming into America? Isn't that how you get citizenship? You go through a process. I can't follow where he's going. I already know where he has been. He inherited a very good economy, but the economy started going down with him not taking care of the business of keeping that virus out of here and under control. No, ma'am, when it came to answering questions, he went over the river and through the woods. Tasha's saying he said he didn't need debate prep, but he really did. He didn't do a very good job, in my opinion. And Ms. Audrey says she was very disappointed with the mods. They didn't mute his mic when needed. They let him go too far, and they would only cut him off by saying, we have a lot of other questions we need answered. But I agree, his mic should have been muted. And why have to ask him a second question that he didn't answer the first time? Did she have that opportunity? She had to ask for it and basically take it. Hey, Kendra's Corner. Keisha, I thought the lady gave him more time than Harris and cut her off, in my opinion. I saw the same thing, Keisha. He had much more time, but he kept going back to the same old rhetoric. So at this point, it's time for a change. Or you're going to live the same way, but worse in the next 4 years. You're going to put a person in office and you don't even know what his policies are or what his plans are. We know he's going to help the wealthy. We know he's going to help everybody in business. But are all Americans working in a business, or do some Americans work for other people? Most of them work for somebody. I'm really concerned about Social Security because he's talked a lot about cutting that out. I don't see how you could cut out something that somebody else has already paid for, and they're getting very small dividends back on the money that was taken from them. This is some people's only means of income in their old age. He doesn't have to worry about that. So that's a question for me, in my mind. Audrey saying Tasha, he thinks he's all that and a bag of chips. He's pretty arrogant. Yeah, he's very arrogant and very controlling. And I see his presidency more as a dictatorship than a presidency. I'm not hearing where he's for the people, all the people. I think for her first debate, she did a really good job. And I really do hope that they will come out and do a second debate. Sting, yes, ma'am, he sure did say that. Mhm. I can't wait until tomorrow when fact check comes out and they fact check everything that was said on this debate. It was more bashing in the debate than his concern about the American people. When he was in office, it was a me, mine, I situation, and he did this and he did that. But who did he do it for? He also did some things in office that we're now paying for as women of all colors. When you control at what stage a baby should be terminated, think about this. What if the woman was raped? What if it was incest? You mean to tell me I can't make a decision on that myself? Uh-uh. What about medications? A lot of people in America are on medications and they're on them for life. So you were there 4 years. What did you do to help with that? Some people are now still making a decision of whether they're going to eat or whether they're going to go get their medicine. And you were in there 4 years. But yet you keep saying, why did she make these changes? First of all, she's not president and never has been. She's running for president. So how could she step over the president and go do anything? I thought that was just useless words, just thrown out there. Kevin, neither one of them are worth a hill of beans. Perhaps your house for the next, prepare your house for the next 4 years. That's your opinion, Kevin, and you're welcome to express it. So you got to pick one. So you got to make a decision. And please don't tell me that you're not going to vote, that your vote is not going to count, or it just doesn't matter. Because we all are going to have to prepare our households, no matter who gets in there. Because you don't know what they're going to do until they get there. And then who holds the weight once a bill is passed? It has to be passed by Congress. Okay? So that's going to make a difference too, how well you get along with those congressmen. When we know he put in quite a few of the Supreme Court justices. So, of course, they're going to go along with him. But is it right? She put him in a corner. He can't come out. She definitely over debated him with everything. And she knew exactly how to strike. I thought moderators should have said, please answer the question. Yes, and in a lot of other debates, I've heard that. You know, it would have been, Mr. Trump, we asked you, da 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 da. Would you please answer that question? And I think on one occasion, they did bring it back up again, but he never answered it. Tasha, he didn't have any policies. He had failed fast. And how can you come to a debate with no policies? That's what the American people really want to hear. I heard very little from him tonight that even concerns me. I don't care about your relationship with Putin and nobody else. What are you going to do to get us out of this pickle barrel that we're in right now? Almost every American out there is facing it. Whether you own the job, off the job, got money, don't have any money. Everything is 3 times higher now since the pandemic. When and how are we going to go back? Probably never where we were, but at least to something much more affordable, like food, like gas, like housing. Sting, did you notice he talked longer, much longer than she did? She didn't have the time to speak that he did. And he just, like I said, regurgitated the same thing over and over. Keisha, that's because he's only trying to avoid jail time, in my opinion. Could be because if he gets in the White House, he doesn't have to worry about that. And he also spoke on some of his convictions were overturned by the Supreme Court. How many did you put in office while you were president? That's what I need to know. Kevin, the Electoral College elects the president and vice president, not the people. You vote for the person you want. The electoral colleges are held in each state. Each state has a different amount, a different number. That is what puts them in the White House, depending on the electoral college votes for that state. And certain states carry more weight because they have more electoral votes that can go through that state. But if you don't vote in that state, the electoral college can't put anybody in there. That's how that works. Peace and blessings to you as well, Jersey girl. Speak to us, Lady V. Okay, let me back up then. Hello, Jersey girl. Good evening. How are you? Um, Calvin H, I'm not a fan. However, I know why it was put in place. And that was in the very beginning. I often wondered, why the popular vote did win, because that's the vote of the people. But I understood it better after I really started to study it and understand that each state has so many what do you call it? Electoral college votes. And that's what counts in the end. That's how Hillary lost to him. She got the popular votes, but she didn't get the states that she needed that had the most electoral votes. Hey, Jersey girl, Kendra, the times that we are in, none of this matters. Supremacy is real. I think all of it matters, in my opinion, because you can't just brush it off and say that it doesn't matter when things are steady going up, up, up. At some point, you have got to have help from the government, or we'll all be living on the street. Now, she did not say how she was going to do it, but she did put out there a plan of what she wants to do. I'm still waiting to hear his plan. You can't run on the plan that you had 4 years ago, because we're not living in those times where we were 4 years ago. Sting, I felt he got more rebuttals, is saying Keisha. He does not fit. Not across America, he doesn't fit. He is carrying a lot of uneducated white men. He doesn't have all of the white women's votes because he shouldn't have never, ever decided to remove Roe versus Wade. That has no color to it at all. That's every woman's right and privilege. Lawana, exactly. How is a felon able to run? I don't think anybody else in America could have done that but him. Like I said in the very beginning when we first started discussing this, well, why could somebody in prison that's a convicted felon run for president? The only difference is one is on the outside and one is on the inside. That's the big difference. His convictions will go away if he's president, correct? He's pardoned. It's all over. It's done. But is that fair to the felons that are locked up now? They don't have the clout. They don't have the pull. They don't have the money. You see the difference? We won't go back. No, you're going backwards in a sense if you go in the opposite direction. We have to go forward. We have to get a democracy back here in America. I've always thought that other foreign countries thought that we were the laughing stock because we don't stand for anything anymore. It's like we just accept anything and it's okay. And we'll put anything and anybody in an office that will control everything about you and what you can and cannot do. If you're at my age and you're at retirement and you've been retired for some time like I have, do you think I ever thought that I would have to think twice about how I spent my money and what I spent my money on? And you've already worked 40 plus years? And the retirement, like I tried to explain to y'all before, is good when you first start off. But when inflation hits and it goes up 3 times, that retirement does not go up. It's okay if you still out there in the working world. Go work you some overtime. It's okay if you still out there and you able to bounce from job to job. Okay, well, I'm just going to get me a better job. Oh, people have already done that. And then the threat of you taking away something that we've already worked for, that's challenging to me. Okay, I'm moving on down. 9-month abortion was absolutely ridiculous. That's a whole baby. That's a baby getting ready to come into the world. That's not a fetus. When people are talking, especially with something this serious, you got to really, really open up your ears and your mind to what they're saying and how it's really going to affect you. If you became disabled tomorrow and you're 40 years old and you out there and you working and life is good, become disabled and go on disability for a while and see how your income cuts and have the wrong person there where you can't reap any benefits and see how fast you'll go down. I just looked at the workman's comp I was on from May up until the next check will be my first check. It was a joke. I made more on YouTube than I made on the workman's comp. Now, is that crazy or what? Thank God I had other income coming in. It would bother me if I was out there in the working world right about now with one income. That would be troubling. With the price of everything, how it is. Lawana's agreeing. Jersey girl say, bye, clown. Go on about your business. Keisha, wasn't that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? Yes, a 9-month-old baby at full term. That's murder, in my opinion. Tasha, wait, remember he said people were eating dogs and cats. Where did that come from? And what does that have to do with anything in anybody's household? I mean, he just kind of went off the deep end with that one. Hey, Blue True. Harris Walsh, 2024. Marcel, wait a minute, let me not mess it up. Marcella Van. Okay, Doe, you say Trump won? Okay, it's okay to think that. It's just a debate. What really counts is in November. Okay, now I have a question for you. What did he win? Why do you say he won? You said it, so now explain to me, why do you think he won the debate? What did he do or say that makes you think that? Keisha, I can tell you why. Immigration, immigration, immigration. But what does that have to do with your household? Is the question. A lot of things doesn't have anything to do with the food on the table, the gas you put in your car, the clothes on your back, the job you have. Jobs went away when he was in office. We are too quick to forget. We were in a pandemic. Nobody was going to school. the world shut down. Did y'all forget that already? Just asking. Okay, so Marcel, can I just cut it short right there? I'll call you Miss Doe. Everything East Oakland, California in the house. You lost last sad? Who lost? I haven't lost anything. I'm not running for president. Well, the question to you was, what did he win? Not who lost. Okay? I'm waiting. Miss Audrey, I'm truly praying she does win. However, I'm worried that we'll do or attempt a bloodbath. Well, he said that. He said if he didn't win, that he would do a bloodbath. And we've already seen one at the Capitol. Although he said tonight he didn't take any responsibility for that. Basically said he didn't tell people to go there. But I heard different. Blue True, Taylor Swift endorsed VP Harris and Governor Walz. She mentioned a lot of people tonight, even Republicans who were endorsing her. It's my opinion she can't do any worse than some of the ones we've already had in there. Mm-mm. I just don't see it. Tasha saying she's very presidential. She introduced herself to America tonight as a candidate for the presidency of the United States and did very well at it. I would love for them to have a second debate so she can further talk about her advancements and what she has on her policy plans for the future. He was up there pouting as usual. He does quite a bit of that. We've seen him in action. And how he overtalks everybody. That's the part I can't stand. When you ask a question, answer the question. If you can't or you don't want to, just say that. But don't start talking about something totally off the subject, off the topic of what you were asked. That doesn't look very presidential to me. I do feel Democrats need to get a hold on immigration. And well, just not Democrats, people all together need to be vetted in here correctly. We've always had immigration, but to smuggle people in or to let them illegally cross borders, no, because you are going to get some of the worst people in here. But when he got all that money to build that wall, why didn't he finish that wall before he left the president? It's the whole southern border is still open. So what good is that wall? And we know that they are very good at digging under. If there's a will, there's a way. Ain't no way they're going to climb over it, but they definitely can dig. The real Dion is in the building. Hey, Ms.V, I'm listening at work. Hey, everyone, K-Talk, I'm listening. Have a good night at work, Dion. Kendra, look at the schools right now. How soon is this election? About 58 days, Kendra. We'll be having an election. And the schools have been bad for a while. They didn't just start shooting the schools right now. They've been shooting for the last close to 20 years. It's just getting worse. And we got more protocols in the schools for safety than we've ever had. We have police out there in the morning. We got badges. We got to get in with a badge. It's almost like kids are in prison, like I said earlier. They're on lockdown. They don't go outside and play like we used to. It's too scary. People are outside walking around on campuses. You don't know who they are. But every day when you drop your babies off or they get on the bus, you thinking that they're going to school to learn and get an education so they can become productive citizens. You never in your wildest dreams will think your baby is not coming back home. It's dangerous out there, people. It's really dangerous. I know. I'm there every day. Your kids are fighting on the bus going to school. I mean, actually fist fighting. And your innocent child could get hurt on the bus before they even get to school. Police are having to be called out for a fight on the bus. The bus driver had no control on a long bus. They don't have monitors. Very rarely will there be a monitor on there. So they got to control the drive and pull the bus over, control the children, and call the police. It's a heavy burden. The children are first, always. First and foremost before anything else. Lawana, I thought he was going to burst a blood vessel. He was refraining so much from calling her names. And if she had kept digging, it probably would have come out. But it's going to be interesting to see if he does a second debate. Keisha, he's not against it. He feels we only allow the worst immigrants from the poorest areas. But do we know this for a fact? We hadn't had a wall before, and they've been coming in. You see, he exaggerates so much, we don't know if those numbers are even the correct numbers. I've never looked it up. Has anybody in the chat really found out how many immigrants are coming in here illegally? He said, why not immigrants from other areas? Okay. He always goes as far as he wants to. That's true. But why do they let him is the question. Somebody said it earlier. Why wasn't he muted? They have the ability to do it. Why not? And why wasn't she given the opportunity when she asked to address one of his subject matters that he had been talking about? They cut her off. I said the same thing, says Jersey Girl. Kendra, his politics are working for them. We are not their concern, never have been. That's true, Kendra. That's true. That was mentioned tonight also about him dividing and being divisive when it came down to race. This is 2024. We have too many mixed marriages and too many mixed children out there to be worried about race anymore. Race should not even be an issue. She's married to a white man. He's married to a foreign woman. So why does race even have to come up now? By 2024, people ought to just be people. Dion, I see you all. I'm working. Okay, Dion, we appreciate you coming in. Catch the replay for me. In the middle class, we have to pay for it all. We do, and it's breaking us. It's breaking the bank on us. We can't continue to do that. Go to work every day and bring home a portion of the money and feed and take care of everybody else along with paying taxes. That's a bit too much. The younger people who are just coming out of college will never have the opportunity to live the life we once lived. Where we went where we wanted to, we had jobs and they paid money with a 401k and all this. Because the cost of living is eating up most of their money. And God forbid if they have a student loan. Kendra, but how weird to mention people eating dogs and cats. That was very weird. And where did it come from? Why was it even necessary to say that? It was like, that wasn't ever a question that was asked to him. He should have been more prepared for the debate. Jersey Girl is saying 100. Sting, and we didn't work all our lives for you just to take it away from us. Exactly. It's hurting the baby boomers more than anybody because we're the ones that's now on fixed incomes and retired. And that's the ones that's hurting the worst. It's not hurting you if you're still out there in the working world. If you still a young person where you can just get out there, your body doesn't feel like that. Most people my age don't have the energy I have. Don't even have the mindset to get up and do it. They just live on what they live on. Or they just use the savings they got. It's so unfortunate for many. They're selling their homes. They're moving into smaller places. Because they know they can't go back out there and compete with that younger person. Tasha Walton, that thing say anything, honey, at any time, says Kendra. Sting, that's what he wants is a dictatorship. Well, we've kind of experienced 4 years of it. Do you really want to go back down that road again? He's now 80. Okay? He will be 84 years old running this country when he leaves office the next time. I'm old. I don't want anybody that old running this country. Things are changing too rapidly. Your mind does not operate and work as fast. You're not as sharp as you used to be. You can't remember stuff like you used to. Everything is declining. Doesn't matter because he's a billionaire. Not at all. This is more of a power struggle than anything. Just the prestige of being president. That's power. It's not about money to him or to us. Audrey, didn't he say Democrats are getting abortions at 9 months? That's from Tasha. Yes. Miss Lieber Ford, he said you could get an abortion at 9 months or even after the baby was born. Okay, so that's murder then. Once the baby is born, for sure. It's live. It's a human being then. That was kind of weird also, for lack of other words. I have an issue with a man having a say in a woman's body over the woman herself. I think most women would concur with that, Keisha. I wouldn't want anybody telling me what to do with my body, especially government. Most of government is men. There's a sprinkle of women off in there, but the majority are men. Sting, Libra 4, word that the most ridiculous thing that was ever heard. I followed it and I listened to it real intensive tonight. I just sit down on the sofa and I listened to him and I listened to her. And I was like, America can't stand another 4 years of this. You just can't. And why divide the people now when we've come together? Basically, as one. We living in the same neighborhoods. We going to the same restaurants, the same jobs. Why would you want to tear that apart? That's what I don't get. And go back, make America great again. What was wrong with America that you got to make it great again? That was kind of a insult to America and the American people. when you got your allies and you got other countries listening to you say that? You really down the place where you want to become president. Tasha, that's what Miss Jackie said. Keisha, right, I was yelling at the TV. She's not the president. No, she's the vice president. He was acting as if she had control as president. She's running for president. And when he kept saying that, I kept saying to myself, why are you saying that? She can't go run back to the White House and do anything. Biden is still president until November. Kendra, he doesn't have to put any thought into what he says. Supremacy is real. Right about that, Kendra. Keisha, he's lying about Project 2025. That paper is so much. We talked about that paper one night out here on YouTube, and it's so much to it, and it's written where you would almost have to have an attorney to prep you on what you are reading. But yet tonight he said he had nothing to do with Project 2025. Did you hear that? He looked tired to me. Yeah, but he still made a public appearance after the debate instead of going on home like an 80-year-old and going to bed. Uh, Tasha, he still doesn't believe he lost the election. So you want to put somebody in there that still doesn't believe that? 4 years later, almost 4 years later, 3.5, and you still believe that the election was stolen from you just because you didn't win. You have no proof of it. You tried over and over, waste a lot of taxpayers' money again, counting them ballots over and over and over. Just read Taylor Swift has endorsed Harris. Yes, somebody was saying that earlier, Miss Audrey. Ms.V. Isaac Hayes' son taking him to court. He's still playing song. I saw the topic, but I didn't read about it. Um, that's a sad situation too. So if Isaac Hayes made the music, it's his rights and it should be his royalties. So I don't know. I can't even get into that until I read the article. That man ain't stud nobody. Himself, his family. That's it. And they haven't really spoken out. He's got kids by several different women. They might not even be treated all the same. For all we know. It happens. No, he's not the middle class, and he's never been, and he doesn't really understand middle class working people who get up and go to a job every day. The middle class people who have worked for him, a lot of them have not gotten paid. They just did the work and they had to move on. They didn't have the money to fight him. Miss Audrey, it was said his first wife is buried on his golf course. Wow. I hadn't heard that, Miss Audrey. Mm. It is not by popular vote, and that's the voice of the people. That's true. It's electoral. Electoral college vote. And that, it took me a long time to understand that. Why was it set up like that in the beginning? What were the forefathers thinking when they did that? I still don't quite understand it. Yes, ma'am, the electoral college votes, yes. because it would be Democrats every time based on popular. It's a strong possibility. Never looked at it that way, Keisha. Audrey, I was waiting for him to slip up that mouth, call Harris a bad name. Truly, he really, really threw him up under the bus every chance he got. Everything was their fault, and everything was great and good that he did. There's a problem right there because you took a debate to talk down to other people who are now in office, but it's a proven fact of what you're saying. We'll know tomorrow. Audrey, are you serious? She buried there? I hadn't heard that, Tasha. Oh, Audrey saying that's what the news stated. And you know, Miss Audrey keeps up with the news. Miss Lieber 4, it's those matter, in my opinion. Pretty much, Kendra, if it matter how a man with this many felonies able to be president, just asking. We all are wondering that same thing, Keisha. How is it possible? Do you think Obama could have ran? Or any president for that matter, with just his track record? He doesn't have to fit, y'all. We got to stand strong. He doesn't fit. He doesn't understand middle class working people, much less poor people. Where is his wife? She hasn't been supporting him very much. I haven't seen her at all. She wasn't even in the spin room when he went in there tonight. Have no idea. Harris's husband is really supporting her. I got an email today from the Democratic Party asking for a donation as well as stating why his wife should hold the highest office in the land. Since I've been voting, never seen so many Republicans speaking out, um, voting for Harris. That's true. And she said it herself tonight. She called off a lot of them. If they're tired of him and they worked for him or with him, we didn't. So if they're flipping the script and going over, better stop and take a look at that. And you talking about high-ranking military officials, a lot of Republican congressmen, senators. Yeah, they make the laws of the land. We cannot just keep talking. No, we got to get out and vote. That's our only voice. That's it, and that's all. And like I said, if you don't do that, you really don't have a voice. There's nothing you can say. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You're intelligent. You heard the debate just like I did. You see the principles, you see the character, you see the integrity. You heard how many people he fired. He used that White House just like he used that TV show he had. You're fired. Sting, if you can't run a business, what makes you think you can run a country? Every business you've had has failed. And he bounced his ass right back. Every time. He finds loopholes in everything. He knows where the money is and he goes there for the money and he makes deals. And that's how he gets richer. He even told you he made a deal with Putin. The Constitution only lists 3 requirements to run: at least 35 years old, a natural born citizen. Because remember, you have to be natural. They tried to make Obama not be a natural born citizen. They throw all kind of stuff out there. Well, I guess that would mean that Hawaii isn't a state then, and have lived in the United States for 14 years. That's not asking a whole lot. That's almost anybody could do that. Ms.V in North Carolina, a felon can vote as long as they have served their time. I know it's different in every state. Miss Audrey. And I don't see anything wrong with that personally. If you serve your time for the crime, then you back out in the working world trying to be a productive citizen. It's a second chance. But it's also going to affect you whether you vote or whether you're not going to vote. One way or the other. You buying the same things we buying. Kendra, right, Keisha Board, all of us can run for president, and I know I wouldn't be comfortable doing so. I don't know enough about foreign affairs to even think about running for office that high. Dealing with the economy and in the bad shape it's in. I'm used to handling business at home. You talking about dealing with business of the world. Imagine that. Tasha, she just renegotiated the prenuptial agreement. She said she is not moving to the White House. Oh, really? Well, she definitely has not been supporting him out on the trail. So things might not be all hunky dory in there. Hey, Carla, good evening. I just don't understand why people aren't realizing he filed for bankruptcy 6 times. They realize it. A lot of what he has done, they realize it. They just like him. Like voting him in and liking him is gonna make your life any better. If you living in poverty at this moment, and he gets back in there, you're going to still be in poverty. When he left you, if you were in poverty, aren't you still in poverty now? Think about it. Keisha, I laughed when he said, I only got a tiny bit of my father's 400 million, but he never told you what that tiny bit was. Even if he didn't get but 40 million of it, isn't that more than most? Most people who reach that level of income, they work their ass off for it. Whether they're in the music profession or a professional athlete or whatever, they worked. Their bodies have been beat down. Their voices have sung until they can't sing no more. Look at Frankie Beverly. He never reached that pinnacle of money. It's been all over the internet that the Haitian was in a park in Springfield eating the ducks, and some people say they were missing pets. Okay. Hi Winnie, how you doing? But what did that have to do with the debate tonight? That was never a question for him to bring that up. That was my point, Winnie. Immigration has another to do with it. Has nothing you mean to do with it, because a lot of people are losing jobs to illegal immigrants. He is not my choice. I do believe immigration is a huge issue. It has always been an issue. You can look at the Hispanic population now, they're building America. At one time, it was the Chinese building the railroads. At another time, it was Africans coming into America, enslaved. And now it's almost like anybody and everybody can come in here and they can get hired over you. They can work a business and never have to go to a job. Who comes in with all the convenience stores, all the little service stations, all the little nail shops? It's just certain industries they can go into, and before you know it, they're richer than rich. They had government assistance. Hey, Ramona. Miss Audrey, my son has lived in Minnesota over 15 years, stated that Walz is a great candidate. 5 years ago, he made all school meals free for everyone. And it should be that way today. Another thing I've seen since I've been down there working in the schools, the menus are awful. They're not healthy at all. Every morning, my special needs kids who are already hyper are being fed donuts, chocolate milk, and you don't think they gonna go in there and tear something up in the classroom? All that sugar first thing in the morning. Immigration is top of my list with economy. Okay, that's Keisha. He's waiting on me. He'll be waiting a long time if he's waiting on Mexico to pay. I recall something about him saying that Mexico was going to pay half of that wall. Have they paid yet? I think your taxpayers' dollar paid for that. Honey, I pick with plastic spoons, says Winnie. I don't quite understand that, Winnie. Honey, I've picked with plastic spoons. Okay, I'm going to go on down. Well, Ms.V, if there is another debate, myself, Sting, Jackie, we will be the mods. Can you say click, mic, muted each and every time? That's what they should have done. Because they already know. I mean, he's shown us over and over and over how he takes control of whatever he's talking about and whatever he wants to say. Yep, 25 years ago was Columbine. It doesn't even seem like it's been that long. Time has really passed. That seems like it maybe 10 years, but not 25. Keisha, I have a question. Is writing in anyone other than the nominated the same as not voting? Hold up. Is writing in anyone other than the nominated the same as not voting? I don't know. I can't answer that, Keisha. I really can't. Um, I always think about the mail-in votes too. Are they really there and are they really counted? I've worked election polls and I've seen a lot of boxes with ballots in them. But were they really counted? My aunt owned a child care facility for 30 years. That was always my part-time job since age of 13. I know the rules and the regulations of child care very well. Yeah, and they change, but the basic thing of child care is just that, taking care of the child. And especially when you have a child that is a special needs child. A normal child can do a lot of things for themselves, but a special need kid, there's a lot you're going to have to do for them. Race is always an issue, and I have a biracial grandchild. Let's stay focused. Yeah. And that shouldn't be an issue, is what I'm saying at this time, Kendra, because it's so mixed up and it's so many mixed race children out there now. It's so many mixed race marriages out there. Why is race an issue now? It shouldn't be. Tasha, I'm French and Indian, and my husband is white and Ethiopian. So there's like 4 different races right there with 2 people. What's wrong with it? People love who they love. Keisha, it's 2024 and race relations is still a tremendous issue. It's like the way they're talking about it is like we just came out of slavery. No, it's been well over 200 years. Let's stop with the foolery. Sting, there is no more pure races. I don't think so. They would like it to be because they were dominant when we were like all black, marrying black children. But it's not that way anymore. It hadn't been that way in many years. Uh, Kendra Corner, I have a serious question for you. Okay. Ask Kendra the question, Keisha. Sting. Kendra, I have biracial in my family. I think most people nowadays do. That's not unusual. Mm-mm. Nor indifferent. And they're blood, so you accept them and you love on them like everybody else. To me, it's a good thing to be all mixed up like that. You would think it would take the racism and the prejudice out of the world. But has it? My grandbaby is biracial, and I have to keep my heart on a swivel at all times. Well, just know, again, you're not the only one. Many of us have biracial people in our family. And in my family, it just didn't start. It started many moons ago for me. Yeah. Um, Matthew was on Good Morning America yesterday, has greenhouse grant for schools helping mental health and safety. He's pushing this. That's a great thing, Miss Audrey, because they do need a lot of assistance and a lot of help. For the most part, though, I have very good parents. When it comes to their children, they want the best for them. They really do. And they go out their way. Anything you ask for that child, they gonna get it. And that makes me feel so good. They want to know how the child did that day. Um, the simplest little things mean so much to them. Everybody on my bus can buckle themselves up now. The first couple of weeks, my junior high students, I had maybe about 4 or 5 of them couldn't buckle a seatbelt. I had to do it for them. It takes up time. Hmm. But they settling down now and they doing really good. Kendra's Corner. This is from Keisha. How do you feel about your grandchild's other half? My grandmother is white and my mother half white. And I find a lot of racism coming from the non-white people. I don't see that in my family. Mm-mm. The first time we met was about 15 years ago out in Durango, Colorado. And from the moment we got out of the SUV and we were outside in a park and we went up under the pavilion. They all knew who I was. I thought they actually thought my husband was their cousin because I was the darker one. Hmm. But we were accepted and we've been friends over on Facebook. They've come from Colorado to our Baltimore home and visited with us. And we keep in touch with each other over on Facebook. And they call me cuz. And I call them cuz. And we're older, most of us. The young ones, we didn't keep in touch as much. I have one cousin over there that's a tattoo artist. And we speak from time to time. And she's married to a black man. And I think she has one white son and one black son. But like I always said, they always knew about us. But some of the older white side of the family had to die out for us to come together. But I just thank God we know each other now. And I don't see any prejudice or any racism. I mean, we're in a group over there and we talk about accomplishments and things going on and events and when the next family reunion, where it's going to be, how much we're going to have to pay. And my family did not really deal with them. I was the first to go out and meet them. And now my little nephews, and my nieces and all, they have found family that they talk to now. So I think my husband and I kind of brought them together because we were the only one that represented my side of the family, the Calhoun side of the family. When it say, I'm sorry, Ms.V, but the animals being eaten is a lesson for others to learn. Those people will say and do anything when they don't want you around. And that's how people easily believe a lie, just like that. You're probably saying, yeah, Winnie, I understand what you're saying now. Okay. Thank you for that comment. Keisha, can you see my question, Kendra? She may have answered down further. When it just like we are lazy. Okay. When it comes again, and she says, so now they can get a taste on how they really operate in this country. And it's sad that it has to be this way when we say we are in a democracy. And I just don't think that when the Constitution was written and uh just everything, you think back, the preamble, everything back then, I don't think that they really could see how far in the future they could take what was actually done back then and turn it around, but they have. Okay, so Kendra is back and she says, Keisha, my family is blended. We have never had a racial issue. We have had arguments, but just as families, not race. Okay. And you pretty much gonna have that in any family. But like I say, most families are blended these days. Maybe back in the early 90s, you kind of took a look when you saw a black and a white couple together. But in the 2000s, you would be surprised at how many mixed race kids are on those buses. You don't really know what they are. Some look Hispanic, some look Indians, some look like they white, some look like um maybe they black. You don't know. They're very beautiful children. It's like they got the best of both races. Carla, that man said it will be a bloodbath if he doesn't win. He did say that, Tasha. Okay, Keisha. Kendra's Corner. Okay, that's wonderful to hear. All right. Tasha smiled. Of course, he did. And I'm sure. Did he look a little upset and angry and like he was talking down to people, even those in the spin room that were asking questions? He kind of just like shoved them away if he didn't want to answer, and he walked to the other side. And the reporter kept trying to ask him a question. He's bad about that. If he don't want to answer something, he will tell you off. And we've seen that too before. He said he never read Project 25 and he never planned to. Well, how can you put something out there and don't even know what's in the body of the message? And we don't know. Because like I said, I'm not reading all of that. It's too much. And I'm probably not going to understand all of that anyway. Um, Keisha is back saying, Kendra's Corner, blended family is beautiful. I love when everyone comes together and race isn't an issue, and it shouldn't be an issue. We've come too far to want to be together, to destroy that now. If you went through integration or segregation, where it was you couldn't do the things they did, and then people fought and lost their lives to be together, and we now have that opportunity. Why is that a problem? I don't get it. Okay, y'all are talking about the grandchildren and being biracial. He didn't want to hear her say, that's a mess. We're in was caused by him. He didn't like that. No, because everything he said, it was me, my, and I did this. Me, I, my. That's all you heard. Um, okay. Hey, Jay, how you doing? You definitely are blind, lady. I am. I don't think so. I think I see pretty good. Why am I blind, Jay? Why couldn't it be you that's blind? You came in here and you made a statement. Now I'm asking you, why am I blind? Speak or forever hold your peace. That heart in the corner gets my last nerve. I can't read the entire comment. Oh, you talking to Kendra? Y'all still talking? Okay. There are some countries that will not do business with a president who is a felon, and some are our allies. Okay. Hey, Real Spills, he never answered the question. Didn't answer too many. But Jay came in and said, I'm blind. And I think I see pretty good. Uh-huh. I understand he was trying to be funny that I couldn't see what Trump stood for or what he's going to do. Jay, what has he done for you? Don't leave. Stay with us. We want to hear it. That's because us don't stick together. We're probably the only race out there that don't. You see all other races sticking together with us. It's a slave mentality. It's a crab in a bucket mentality. It's what it is. And it's generational. When does it end? Where does it stop? I have a friend that works for HUD, and she told me about the new changes under Biden, which are game changers for those with assistance. That's good. When does it come into effect, Keisha? But everyone get paid except us. It's true. When I first started working at the plant, we had a little conversation going on in the break room one day after we had gotten a raise. And do you know that I was the only Black woman hired with about 4 other white guys? And then it was about 2 years later, I found out that I started lower than them with pay, but none of them had any college degrees. They came in on work experience because maybe they had worked in a hospital, or maybe they had worked in some kind of other medical field or in another lab before that didn't require a college degree. But yet, when we came in, they required it there at the Chocolate Bayou plant, but not at the Texas City plant. Anybody could work over there. You could have your brother, your sister, your mother, everybody could work at that plant. But that was a union plant. The one I was in was a non-union plant. And they ran things basically like a military because a lot of the bosses were military. And that's where they came from. We would never get anywhere because we don't stick together. We don't. Do you see us ever in your lifetime that we will? You see us cutting each other down all the time, finding fault, looking for unfavorable things to say about each other when it's really not even necessary because it's just chump change. The real jobs are the ones that's really paying money. The real entrepreneurships are the ones that's really paying money. There ain't no way I'm going to get out here and clown myself like some of these people do for a nickel and a dime. Mm-mm. I don't care if you got 5,000 views and I get 2. It doesn't matter. I can't do that. It's just uncalled for so far as I'm concerned. Time is flying. Yes, it is. Because it definitely don't seem like 25 years since the Columbine incident that happened. If you write in on your ballot, you're voting. I think the question was, for me, Kendra, was after working in some of the polls in Baltimore, who's counting those ballots? Who's putting them through the machine? Because I know I never did. I only helped with the people, getting them to their place if something happened to the machine, or that's about it. If they couldn't read, I'd tell them which one. This says Trump, this says Harris. Okay. And then I got to step out and they got to do it. Um Kendra, okay, that's what my cousin said. Okay, y'all still talking about the race issue. I thought if I went to the polls and wrote ALF for president, that just like not voting. I see that I'm wrong, says Keisha. No, when you're using a paper ballot, it should count too. That was the problem in the last election. Remember, some of the machines are not the same. Some of them are a little bit antiquated, and they had paper ballots. Other machines are more like on a computer type. And that was the issue that came up. The reason why he kept saying count the ballots over and over and over. And they kept coming out the same. Jay, where are you? I'm still waiting on you to tell me what Trump did for you, honey. Let's talk about who built the White House. Black people, enslaved people. And it's a beautiful building, and they did it by hand. They didn't have machinery back then. I have plenty of biracial family members, but I still know racism is very well alive. It is, and it probably always will be. It's better now than it has been. I'm older. I came up in it. You didn't come up with colored on the water fountains. You didn't come up with colored on the elevators. You didn't come up with colored on the back doors. I did. So if anybody can speak on it, it would be me in this chat, because I don't think nobody in this chat is as old as me and lived in racial state like I lived in. And I was in my 20s before I really saw where black and whites had started to mingling and coming together as one. My high school, I never even went to a prom because they didn't let us. We weren't invited. We never had a class reunion together yet, and I've been out of there 50 years. Probably never will. Okay. All right. I'm trying to get on down to the, but hey, Alex, how you doing? Lanice, he got upset and angry really when she brought some crowd sizes. He's such a fool. Vote blue. But I think she did that on purpose because she knew that would irritate him when she said that, Lanice. She put in a few digs where she knew she could throw him off because it's easily to get him unfocused. Hell to all. Hello, queens. How you doing, Alex and Kings? Ms.V, no work tomorrow? Yeah, but it's not going to be bad at all. Mm-mm. Plus, I'll probably come home tomorrow. I'm back in the house, Alex. So I'll probably come home tomorrow and take a nap in my house between tomorrow's Wednesday. So I should be home about 9:30. And I have from 9:30 to 1:30 to sleep. Yep. My best friend in the world is white. It shouldn't matter what color they are. It really shouldn't. Not to me. Not somebody who's been through it. It doesn't matter to me at all. And I've been called the N word and everything else many, 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 many times. And it doesn't matter to me. I always say I treat people the way I want to be treated. Now, that's it, and that's all. Is it gonna happen? Mm-mm. Nope. I live in a white Republican state, born and raised registered Democrat since 1992. This is Lanice. It is a problem. These white people out here blending families. Yeah, some of them like it and some of them don't. We go through neighborhoods that have, I don't see too many Kamala signs in the yard. But we go through some neighborhoods and some very, very prestigious neighborhoods that have a whole banner across the front of the house. And it makes you stop and wonder. Kendra's Corner, that's sad. I've had the total opposite experience. Y'all still talking about that. Okay, y'all remember in 2019, he invited champs Clemson Tigers to White House. He fed them McDonald's. He sure did. Mm-hmm. But just what if it had been Obama who had done that? They probably still been talking about it. Because they went all off into that man's church. Y'all better think back and try to condemn his pastor for a clip that they put out there, but the clip didn't really represent what he said. It sounded horrible just to hear that little piece of the clip. But if you went back and listened to the whole message, you understood fully as a Black person what he was saying. Alex, Jay gone. Miss Audrey threw him out the window. Oh, okay. Keisha, boy, don't ever get too comfortable with nobody in life. Mm-mm. You can't. Because that's the very ones that'll turn on you. Jay gone. Okay. Well, Miss Audrey said she didn't want to hear all that. Kendra saying some of us do stick together. Fewer than most. Me, I can get along with anybody. Because you're going to do you and I'm going to do me. And we're going to come together and we're going to laugh and we're going to talk about it. I'd leave you and walk away from you before I bash you and talk about you. I don't have no business. I mean, it's like we're virtual people out here. We meet up. We should have fun. We should laugh. We should talk. Should be able to talk about serious subjects like we're talking about today, racism and the presidential election, and still be able to get along. You might be a Trump supporter for all I know. I didn't ask because I didn't care. The only thing I said is you need to vote. Because if you don't have nothing to say, period, after that point. 100 Ms.V, and it's so sad, says Alex. They started the pilot in one city first. Mm-hmm. Keisha boy, don't ever get too comfortable. Okay, this must be Kendra again. With them, not all of them welcome us, regardless if we are family or not, is what I mean. You remember the McDonald's? I'm getting hoarse, y'all. You remember the McDonald's stuff? Yeah, Tasha. That was a trip. Like you invite some little kids in there to a Happy Meal. I can't. Thank you, Alex. $ Vieta Brown. All donations are welcome. Thank you, Kendra. Where we vote here, we put our own ballots in the machine. Okay, so y'all got the old machines. There. Okay. Ms.V, I must have been blinded to cause Jay is gone. Okay. Thank you, Miss Audrey. Because he told me I was blind. I wanted him to tell me how was I blind. I don't remember nothing he did for me. Mm-mm. Nothing at all, but maybe he did something for them. He let Kovic in here. Said it was not real. It was fake. And I got a dead husband today because of that. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm blind. Lanice, I was born and raised in white racist Republican Arizona, and they still white and racist. And I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I still live in Phoenix, Arizona. It's crazy here. I've been through Phoenix a couple of times and spent one night there driving back from Las Vegas. Little too hot for me to be outside there. It's much like Vegas. Yeah. But I didn't get the experience of the people because we got in there late that evening. We had something to eat and we went to bed so we could get up and hit the highway because we still had New Mexico and then all the way across Texas because I live in South Texas, down on the Gulf. There is just racism coming from both sides, and it needs to be done from both sides. Okay. Alex has dropped the handle in the chat for those who would like to like, share, and subscribe to Chatting with Miss V. Okay, I'm getting on down to the bottom because I do need to go to bed, y'all. I'm in the South, Keisha born this thing. It's totally different here living it. Sting and I are in Texas. I'm not sure where Keisha, you in Texas too? I don't know where Keisha is. Uh, I would love to hear your story in its entirety one day. Your life during and after integration and segregation. Um, I was probably in my 50s before I even want to talk about it. It was that painful. Yeah, just to think that you a child going through all of this and watching those little girls out of Birmingham who got killed in that church, always that movie brought me to tears because that was during those times. They would have been older than me. Yeah. Miss V, that sounds good. That's not the way it is. I'm not sure what you're talking about now, Kendra. Y'all been talking so much about the racism stuff. I'm not sure. Kennedy attorney won in North Carolina court Friday to remove his name. I saw that, Miss Audrey, from President. So North Carolina has to get new mail ballots and rush to mail them out. Wow. He shocked me too. Going Republican and the Kennedys always have been Democrat. That was a little shocking. I've been called the N word. I've Generation Z. I have millennial children. They all been called the N word here in Arizona, and it does something to your psyche. And all I see is Trump signs. Wow. I spent more time in Flagstaff, Arizona. My dad had a half sister there, and we spent more time in Flagstaff than Phoenix. I flew through Phoenix several times when I was working for the airlines, Lanice. But I would have never known that because we were in the airport most of the time or leaving out the airport to go to the hotel. Auntie, you're missing some of the message. Okay, Tasha. And the North, Kamala is well loved up here by all races. I love to see it. Okay, that's Alex. Neighborhoods here has signs here that say Joe and the hoe got to go. Where you live, Kendra? I finna go now because y'all ain't understanding the South here. No, not that South. Wherever your South is, that ain't here in Texas. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Mm-mm. You have to get on your channel and tell us about it. I see why you saying Miss V something about you don't understand. No, because I ain't never seen nothing like that. Um, Keisha say she learning. It's okay. I got Eve. We all respect each other, and that should count. As Aretha say, respect. I have all races in my family, and Aretha. See, that's what I was saying from the beginning. Most of us now uh have people that have married into the family or were originally in the family. So that's why I don't see where race is such a big deal. But from what Kendra is just saying, I don't know what part of the South she lives in, but that is awful in 2024. Yes, Miss V, when you are ready. Okay. Oh, you live in Georgia. And see, I wouldn't have thought that Georgia's so far up. I would have expected that to come from like Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, one of the real southern states. You getting close up to the Mason-Dixon line up there. I wouldn't have even thought that, Kendra. That's horrible. Kendra Corner, you should tell your experiences. We learn from one another. Yeah, Kendra, you got a channel. Tell what's going on because that's shocking to me. But y'all, I've been on here an hour and 39 minutes, and it's 12:34 Central Standard Time. Enjoyed the conversation. We'll wait and see if we'll have another debate. Like I've said from the beginning, you have no voice if you don't vote. So y'all take care. Have a good night's sleep. Much love to you. And I'll see y'all later on tomorrow. Georgia's a fantasy racism state. Just visit. I already told y'all. I visited Atlanta before, and I've driven through Georgia coming from Baltimore, but never spent enough time, I guess, there to see that. But tell us about it over there at Kendra's Corner. Good night, everyone. Enjoyed each and every one of y'all. Be blessed. Later.